Hello, good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nur Zamri and you're watching News at 10. In our top stories tonight, MRT Putrajaya officially launched free ride until 31st of March. Cabinet Committee formed to tackle traffic woes. The newly launched Putrajaya MRT line will be free for all commuters until 31st of March. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said commuters looking to use the new line were able to access it for free after its official launch at 3 p.m. today during his speech at the official launch of the line in Serdang.
Dan kerana kejayaan MRT Corp dan memudahkan cara pelaksanaan ini, saya setuju supaya mulai hari ini jam 3 petang 3 petang sehinggalah 31 Mac kita tidak akan kenakan bayaran bagi yang mengguna MRT. Jadi Datuk Tiong boleh bawa pelancong-pelancong naik pergi balik tapi tidak akan dikenakan bayaran.
He added that a full one-way trip would take around 1.5 hours. Additionally, feeder buses to the stations along the line will also be free during the period. The MRT2 is the second MRT line in Malaysia and the third fully automated and driverless rail system in the region. It spans 57.7 kilometres in length with a total of 36 stations. The line stretches from Kuasa Damansara to Putrajaya and runs through densely populated areas such as Sri Damansara, Kepung, Batu, Jalan Ipoh, Sentul, Kampung Baru, Jalan Tun Razak, KLCC, Tun Razak Exchange, Kuchai Lama, Sri Kembangan, Putrajaya and Cyberjaya. In a related development, Datuk Seri Anwar also announced that Transport Minister Anthony Loke is preparing a comprehensive public transportation framework. The Prime Minister said that once it is ready, the framework will be presented to the Cabinet for its implementation. He also said that he agreed with Loke that public transportation programs are a priority. In his role as the Finance Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar said public transportation will be a focus of the budget next year, which had to take a backseat to education and healthcare this year.
Tahun depan, sebenarnya saya bayangkan kepada saudara Anthony Loke, soal pengangkutan awam dengan kesesakan yang sebenarnya akan menyinggung soal produktiviti. Produktiviti negara itu akan terjejas kerana kesesakan. Masa yang diambil untuk bekerja, untuk sampai ke tempat kerja, itu adalah masa yang menyebabkan hilangnya produktiviti. Satu kajian yang menarik saya lihat di Bangkok beberapa tahun yang lalu yang menunjukkan berapa bilion dolar kehilangan dari sudut produktiviti semata-mata kerana kesesakan yang parah.
But after the launching ceremony, Anthony Loke said a Cabinet Committee has been formed to develop a comprehensive strategic plan to address issues with traffic congestion. He said the committee to be chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, with the Ministry of Transport as the main secretariat will hold its first meeting in early April.
Kabinet akan memberikan perhatian yang serius kepada isu kesesakan lalu lintas ini. Itu sebabnya kita telah pun bersetuju untuk membentuk satu Kabinet Komiti. Kabinet Komiti ini akan merangkumi pelbagai kementerian.
Loke said the Prime Minister has voiced his commitment to ensure that public transport is given attention and the transportation system would continue to be strengthened and developed, especially in the Klang Valley, to deal with the problem of traffic congestion. The Putrajaya MRT line that was launched today is expected to attract 80,000 to 100,000 commuters this year. Rapid Rail Sdn Bhd Chief Executive Officer CEO Amir Hamdan said the number of commuters will see a drastic increase once school reopens on 19 and 20th of March and due to the free rides offered until 31st of March.
Populasi yang akan memanfaatkan jajaran ini lebih kurang 2 juta. Tapi dari segi ridership ataupun jumlah penumpang untuk minggu pertama, tahun pertama, dia akan ada peningkatan. Sebagaimana yang kita punya experience pengalaman dengan MRT Kajang Line juga. So kita harap ia lebih lagi sambutan kerana jajaran ini jajaran paling terpanjang yang kita operasikan, iaitu 57.7 km.
Amir was speaking to reporters after a walkabout session at the Putrajaya Central Station to oversee the operations and to entertain commuters who started floating the station since 1 p.m. today. He said Rapid Bus Sdn Bhd has deployed 118 buses for the Putrajaya service and will cover 44 routes that involve 23 stations and also offer shuttle services every 15 minutes. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC will call more witnesses, locals and those from abroad, to give statements regarding the investigation into the Littoral Combat Ship LCS construction project. Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said he also assured that no party would be protected in this probe. According to Tan Sri Azam, he was made aware from the investigating officer that many more witnesses will be called to testify, not only in the country, but also involving those from abroad. He added he will not reject anyone from giving statements, whether VIPs or ministers involved in the case, of which all will be called to ensure that the investigation in the case can be carried out prudently.
Ramai lagi saksi-saksi akan dipanggil untuk diambil keterangan. Dan keterangan-keterangan ini bukan sahaja dalam negara, tetapi juga melibatkan keterangan daripada luar negara. Apabila melibatkan keterangan luar negara, maka kita memerlukan bantuan keterangan luar negara yang dipanggil mutual legal assistance, yang mana ini memerlukan masa sikit untuk kita mendapatkan keterangan daripada luar negara.
Tan Sri Azam was commenting on Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's statement 2 days ago that the investigation into the LCS construction issue must continue. 2 British nationals were jailed 6 months by the Shah Alam Sessions Court for cheating of Kerana in a fraudulent investment scheme. Andrew Mark Peters and Darren Anthony McNicholas were sentenced after pleading guilty to charges of cheating Scottish national Ian Stratton on 21st of May 2019 and 27th June 2019 respectively. The charges were framed under Section 417 of the Penal Code. Judge Rosilla Saleh also meted out fines of RM180,000 to Peters and RM140,000 to McNicholas. The duo will face further jail terms of between 6 months and 1 year, respectively, if they fail to pay the fines. Peters and McNicholas' jail sentences were ordered to run from the date of arrest on 21st of February. According to the facts of the case, the duo was involved in fraudulent online syndicate in duping Scottish national Stratton to invest over RM600,000. Earlier today, the duo's lawyer, Rafiq Rashid Ali, urged the court to impose a minimum sentence against them. He said Peters, who has special needs, requires medical care. Both of them gave their full cooperation to the MACC during the investigations, according to Rafiq, who appeared together with Fahmi Buin. Deputy Public Prosecutors Fakhli Zamri and Ahmad Akram Garib called on the court to impose a deterrent sentence against the duo. Coming up, government to tackle malnutrition issue among 5.6 million children. The government is focusing its efforts on strengthening critical sectors like health and education this year. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim also gave an assurance that the needs and interests of other ministries will not be overlooked.
Jadi untuk tahun ini kita nak ambil langkah-langkah yang sangat tegas dan berani, belanja yang jauh lebih tinggi untuk menyelesaikan masalah-masalah basic asas prasarana sekolah. Sekolah daif, tandas di sekolah, kelengkapan-kelengkapan awal di sekolah dan juga klinik kesihatan dan perubatan. Sebab itu sudah lihat peningkatan yang agak mendadak bagi peruntukan Kementerian Kesihatan dan Kementerian Pendidikan.
In the meantime, Datuk Sri Anwar said for every project that is being implemented, transparency and maintenance must be prioritised without allowing any room for leakages and corruption to enable a more competitive pricing. He said the assertion is in line with the commitment of the unity government as emphasised through the Malaysia Madani concept of good governance. The Prime Minister said this when launching the Phase 2 Putrajaya MRT line at the Serdang MRT depot. The problem of malnutrition among approximately 5.6 million school children in the country will be addressed immediately. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said a memorandum would be forwarded to the Cabinet soon to coordinate efforts to address the issue as it involves cross-ministerial operation. He said discussions were held concerning the nutrition allocation for primary and lower secondary schools involving approximately 800 million ringgit, taking into account the nutrition for children at nurseries or kindergarten.
Kita akan membentangkan memorandum kepada Jemaah Menteri untuk melakukan penyelarasan tentang pemakanan ini sebab ianya memerlukan komitmen pelbagai kementerian dan agensi untuk pelaksanaannya.
He said this in a press conference after chairing the National Social Council meeting in Parliament today. The meeting was attended by Cabinet Ministers including Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri. The proposed amendments to the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998 in Bracket 8588 will improve the security and network aspects following the increase in the use and dependence of the public on digital services. According to Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil, the amendments were also to encourage the development of the communications and multimedia industry in this country fit for future.
Akta 588 setakat ini belum pernah dipindah. Bermaksud 25 tahun telah berlalu sejak undang-undang ini dirangka dan digubal dan diluluskan. Dan semestinya kita tahu 25 tahun yang lalu dan sekarang dan 25 tahun yang akan datang, keadaan, teknologi, penggunaan platform-platform yang ada juga sangat berbeza. Maka bila pihak kementerian meneliti secara keseluruhan, kita tidak berhasrat hanya untuk melihat Akta 233 ataupun Seksyen 233 ini, tetapi memandangkan perubahan yang besar sedang berlaku. Kalau dulu kita cuma menggunakan mungkin 2G, 3G, sekarang 5G dan kemudian bagaimana?
Therefore, Fahmi hopes that MPs, non-governmental organisations, the public and legal experts could provide feedback to the ministry to improve the law. The government is drafting a special act to enable the establishment of a fully independent Children's Commissioner's Office, which will act as a watchdog on various issues affecting children in Malaysia. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Sri Azalina Uthman, said it was vital to further empower the Children's Commissioner, Dr. Farahnini Dusuki, and her office that now operates under the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia, SUHAKAM. She said that the office should be independent to effectively and aggressively oversee not just the criminal laws regarding children, but also in all aspects of their well-being, such as education and health. The special act is expected to be tabled within this year.
Apa-apa perkara yang melibatkan kanak-kanak, kerajaan Madani merasakan perlunya ada satu undang-undang khas supaya memberikan kebenaran dan kebebasan kepada Pusuruhanjaya kanak-kanak dalam negara kita untuk memantau, memberikan pendapat, menilai dan membantu kerajaan untuk membawa lebih banyak kebaikan kepada anak-anak Malaysia kita.
Dr. Farahnini, a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Law, University of Malaya, was appointed as the Children's Commissioner to SUHAKAM for a 3-year term effective 8th of March. After EU and United States, TikTok now banned on UK government devices. That coming up in our foreign segment. Chinese search engine company Baidu's shares fell as much as 10% today after the company unveiled its ChatGPT-like AI software, with investors unimpressed by the bot's display of linguistic and math skills. Baidu's earnings report unveiled at a press event in Beijing fell short of expectations, with the company's co-founder Robin Li showing only a pre-recorded demonstration of the software's capabilities rather than a live interaction. The company showed audiences a screen recording of the bot answering questions about popular Chinese science fiction novel The Three-Body Problem and generating a plot summary. It also showed off Ernie Bot's algebra skills and generated audio in the Sichuanese and Hakka dialects of Chinese. Baidu's Hong Kong-listed shares plunged immediately after the software was unveiled, sliding by more than 10% at one point. The company's share recovered slightly afterwards, down around 7% at afternoon. Baidu said it intends to integrate the bot into its search engine, as well as its smart home devices, with real-world applications across industries. The United Kingdom today announced a security ban on the Chinese-owned video app TikTok on government devices in line with action by the European Union and the United States. Western authorities have been taking an increasingly firm approach to the app owned by the firm ByteDance, citing fears that user data could be used or abused by Chinese officials. Cabinet Office Minister Oliver Dowden told Parliament the ban was with immediate effect, adding it would apply to government corporate devices used by ministers and ministries. He said experts had conducted a risk assessment of third-party apps in relation to sensitive government data. As part of the measures, government devices would only be allowed to access apps on a pre-approved list. On Thursday, the foreign minister is in Beijing, called on Washington to stop unreasonably suppressing TikTok, which claims more than 1 billion global users. Security forces were deployed in the Senegalese capital Dhaka ahead of a politically charged trial of an opposition leader. Ousmane Sonko is being tried for allegedly defaming a minister, a case that could determine whether he will be eligible to run in presidential elections next year. Sonko's supporters say President Macky Sall is using the judiciary as a means to sideline him for the vote, a charge Sall denies. Sonko was taken from his home early Thursday under heavy police escort after being confined there on the eve of the trial, as the authorities braced for protests. Road police were in place around the courthouse and many schools in the capital were closed. Sonko has been accused of slander by Tourism Minister Mame Bayinyang, a member of Sal's party, after accusing him of being criticised by state inspectors for his handling of a rural unemployment scheme. He faces separate charges of allegedly raping a masseur case that in March 2021 unleashed violence that claimed around a dozen lives. The unrest has rattled Senegal, a country that has a reputation of being an oasis of stability in troubled West Africa. Coming up in sports, Sarawak to host 2024 Malaysia Games. Sarawak have been officially chosen as the host of the 2024 Malaysia Games SUGMA and will organise the country's biggest sports event for the third time after the 1990 and 2016 editions. The selection of Sarawak was made at today's SUGMA Supreme Committee meeting chaired by Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh. Hannah said Sarawak's selection was based on the agreement of the members to introduce a system of alternating hosts every 2 years between the National Sports Council, MSN, and the states. The Supreme Committee also approved a proposal that 28 types of sports must be contested starting from the 2024 edition.
Sarawak pula selaku tuan rumah SUGMA 2024 juga diberikan pilihan memasukkan beberapa sukan tambahan dan telah memutuskan untuk menyenaraikan 4 jenis sukan tambahan: tinju, muay thai, petong dan sukan elektronik e-sports. Bagi Temasya Sukma 2024, tertakluk kepada jumlah minimum penyertaan 6 negeri seperti terkandung dalam Peraturan Am Sukan Malaysia.
Meanwhile, Sarawak aimed to make the 2024 Sukma the best ever after being officially chosen to be the host of the 21st edition. Sarawak Youth Sports and Entrepreneur Development Minister Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Ramhan Hamzah said that this time Sarawak are more prepared than when they hosted the country's biggest sports event in 2016. Datuk Sri Abdul Karim said apart from focusing on coaching, the Sarawak government plans to bring Sukma's aura to Sri Aman, Metong, Sibu and Miri to ensure that the people can enjoy the excitement of the biennial games.
Dari segi fasiliti, saya rasa Sarawak mempunyai kemudahan-kemudahan yang mencukupi. Di kompleks sukan di Kuching pun saya rasa adalah antara kompleks sukan negeri yang terbesar di Malaysia in one place. Satu je yang kita belum ada iaitu velodrome.
He added that the organisation of Sukma 2024 hoped to have a positive impact on the state's economy from the aspect of tourism. Gianni Infantino has been re-elected as president of FIFA until 2027 after standing unopposed at the Congress of World Football's governing body in Kigali, Rwanda. The 52-year-old Swiss lawyer who succeeded disgraced Sepp Blatter in 2016 was sworn in for a third term by acclamation, just as he was 4 years ago, by delegates from the 211 member federations. While FIFA status is currently limited a president to a maximum of 3 4-year terms, Infantino has already prepared the ground to stay until 2031, declaring in December that his first 3 years at the helm did not count as a full term. Infantino, who staunchly defended Qatar's hosting of last year's World Cup, has overseen the expansion of the Men's and Women's World Cup and huge increases in FIFA revenues. The Men's World Cup will increase from 32 teams to 48 for the next edition in North America in 2026, while the Women's World Cup will feature 32 teams for the first time in Australia and New Zealand later this year. Infantino has also announced projected income of $11 billion in the 4 years up to 2026, compared to $7.5 billion in the last 4-year cycle ending in 2022. Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti said his team were full of confidence after reaching the Champions League quarter-finals earlier today. The record 14-time champions of Europe beat Liverpool 1-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu 6-2 on aggregate to progress to the last 8. Bidding to win back-to-back Champions League titles and a record-extending 15 European crown, disciplined Real seemed content to sit back against the team Liverpool, who carried a little threat for most of the game.
Ha sido bueno, hemos hecho un partido completo, podía ser un partido trampa, la verdad es que el equipo lo ha empezado bien, con idea clara, muy serio, lo hemos terminado bien. Después, vamos a ver, no sé, yo no tengo preferencia, creo que, como siempre, el objetivo para nosotros lo conoce todo el mundo, que es ganar, entonces, para ganar la Champions tiene que pasar los cuartos y también la semifinal, y también tiene que intentar de ganar la final.
Real spurned several opportunities to open the scoring as they looked to exploit Vinicius Junior's speed on the counter-attack, but could not break the deadlock until late in the second half. The still victory in the 79th minute when Vinicius flicked a loose ball inside the area to Benzema, who tapped into the empty net. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp praised Real Madrid's mentality in big European games.
That's something they used to handle it the best way. And now we have to see if they can do it again this year. They have the right manager to do that for sure, but there are other teams who didn't win it for a while and they want to go for it 100%. So.
Victor Osimhen says Napoli are dreaming of Champions League glory after his brace short the Serie A leaders to a 3-0 win over and struck Frankfurt and into the quarterfinals for the first time in the history. Nigeria striker Osimhen struck either side of half-time to ensure no slip-ups in Naples and help his team secure a straightforward and deserved 5-0 aggregate win. Piotr Zielinski added Napoli's third from the penalty spot on a perfect night for Southern Italy's biggest club, who Osimhen believes can go all the way. However, head coach Luciano Spalletti was less bullish about Napoli's chances than Osimhen, replying with a curt no when asked if he was flattered by Pep Guardiola saying his side were the best in Europe.
Bisogna fargli complimenti e poi si rimane tranquilli a lavorare con serietà, con umiltà, perché non dobbiamo diventare presuntuosi da un risultato fatto. Ora, se l'aspettativa o le aspettative che ci sono, perché ci sarà anche un valore che si va a dare agli investimenti fatti. Se una squadra costa 9 milioni e se una squadra costa 900 milioni ci sarà un motivo oppure per cui diventa un po' un gioco che esiste farlo nel calcio, ma insomma abbiamo già detto, qui a Napoli sono tutti svegli, insomma, ecco, si sa che funziona così.
Oliver Glaston's side head out of the competition on a night in which the fans were involved in a serious disorder after travelling to Naples despite no tickets, faraway fans being put on sale. They didn't stop the German club's hardcore fans, however, who clashed with local police on a tense evening in Naples. Daniil Medvedev saw off 23rd seeded Spaniard Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in straight sets in the Indian Wells Open quarter-final. The 5th-seeded Russian broke serve once in each set en route to a 6-3, 7-5 victory. Medvedev raced through the opening set, a break of the Spaniard's serve in the second game, the only opening he needed, as he lost just 6 points on his serve on the way to pocketing the set in 39 minutes. It was a different story in the second set on a windy stadium court. Davidovich Fokina had a break chance in each of Medvedev's first 3 service games, only for the Russian to come up with big serves to fend him off. Davidovich Fokina was up 0-40 in the 8th game, only for Medvedev to escape. Having already lifted titles in Rotterdam, Doha and Dubai this season, Medvedev sealed his 18th consecutive tour-level win. Up next is a semi-final against Francis Tiafoe after the American 14-seed saw off 10-seeded Brit Cameron Norrie 6-4, 6-4. That concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, MRT Putrajaya officially launched free ride until 31st of March. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Nuri Zamri. Stay tuned to Salaran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.